Welcome to episode 1, where we learn how to use technology, guys.
Behind the scenes, always the most valuable part of any learning or delivery experience. That's my opinion. Oh man, this is exciting. This is super exciting. What are we doing here today, boys? Got some stories to tell, don't we?
Are we
Story
telling
time?
stories today?
I think it's story time.
Story time.
Story time.
Did we do a countdown? Did we make it formal?
Oh, all right. 2, 1. Happy New Year. Oh,
Wrong countdown. It's funny. You can tell the three of us are very different just by us putting our names or initials in the naming convention. We have AG, we have Brandon, and then we have Steve Copshaw, just because, why not? So I noticed that earlier. It was interesting. I'm sure that says a lot about us. Andrew, you can probably teach us.
Everything's a phallus.
Exactly.
Everything's a phallus. Freud would be proud.
So, well, yeah, episode 1, guys. Beyond the Pump podcast, episode 1 for those engineering math nerds out there. Episode 0. So depending upon how you count, but we'll say 1 because that's just where it's going to start. If you're listening, then welcome and thank you. And I think we're just really going to break down why this is all starting. Definitely unscripted by every stretch of the imagination. This is a 2 to 3 week idea that's really been put to work and is being born right now. And I think that we collectively have a similar mission, but also individually have specific things that we'd like to accomplish with what we're doing here, which is exciting. So welcome to the show, and Brandon, Andrew, excited to jump on this journey with you guys.
I mean, everybody
strap in. That's a good way to put it.
Strap in. I think Steve's being modest. He forgot to mention that we've actually been working on a podcast for like 7 months now. True. And this is definitely the brainchild of a lot of wild experiences that I think we really were kind of selfish for holding on to and not sharing with people that might be early in their career or were dealing with some transitions or trying to figure out just how to gain some traction in any direction when it relates to how to build a meaningful business, whether it's in the fitness industry or even, Steve, I know you've done some consulting outside of that. Brandon, I know you've done, you've worked outside of the health industry with your business background and your marketing stuff. And so I think this is a really great opportunity for us to give some of the listeners our background and just kind of share how we came to be here. So rock, paper, scissors on who goes first.
I can go.
I think Brandon should go first.
I'll go.
Brandon, how did you come to be?
So kind of all my experiences, work and school, I feel like have all just perfectly meshed together and just things that I've found interesting. So I went to school, learned marketing stuff, and went and worked, did some digital marketing for some agencies here and there. Always, though, had a passion for nutrition and fitness, and that actually made me decide to go back to school and study, become a dietitian. So I'm in the process of becoming a registered dietitian. Have to pass an exam next month. And during that whole time, I was DJing to get by. So I've been doing that as well. So kind of have some experience going through the ups and downs when it comes to managing my DJ business. And it's been cool to be able to learn the business side of things from DJing, learn nutrition from hands-on experiences, and learn marketing from my experiences in the marketing days. And and that's actually how I come to know Steve and Andrew, was because of my marketing and nutrition background. I had an internship opportunity with a company. Are we saying names? No names. It was a name.
A company. Company A.
It was Company A, but it was actually
Company A. Company A. That's Company A. Oh man! All right. Love it.
So yeah, we were all working for they were working for company A, and I applied thinking it was a lifetime internship because that's what Arizona State University had it listed as. And so I applied, and I was super confused. I'm like, is this lifetime? What is this company A? And then I was like, all right, guess I'm interning here. Had a call with Steve to get to know him a little bit, so it was kind of cool to be onboarded on that. Worked together for about a year-ish or so as an intern, and I was a part-time social media guy, content guy for company A. Then Steve fired me. He had to let me go. It made sense to let me go. I was part-time, and so I had to go and travel and get some hours done for my dietetic internship in order to become a dietitian. So it made sense for Steve and I to kind of part ways in that instance, as I was like, I couldn't do it full time at the time. So yeah, year went by. I ended up going back and forth as like a contracted employee for company A through Andrew. So I filmed a few things for them, and then eventually got a full-time position this past year. And then that full-time position was evaporated, if that's the right word. And so now here we are. I'm here from company A on to bigger and better things. And so that's right. Down but not out, as what Rocky probably said.
Oh,
down
man.
but not out.
So he says precipitated like it's rain. I'm like, I mean, it kind of definitely
evaporated.
I guess, as we figure out and kind of give people a sense of who we are and our values as professionals, like in the last couple of years, you've clearly had some changes. What would you say that some of your values are, and what do you think is really important to you as part of your brand, I guess? Like, what are your brand values as when people think of Brandy Yamaguchi? Like, what do you want to be associated with?
Yeah, and for myself, I wanted to be associated with, I think a good word would be honest truth. I want to be able, and that's why I got into dietetics, especially because there's just a ton of misinformation out there. And that's why I wanted to get into it, kind of learn a little bit more on my end. It was kind of cool too. That whole entire field is just getting rid of misinformation, and as well with some other nutrition professionals that I've bumped into in the past and present. So it's just, that's what I want to be a part of. I want to be able to dispel misinformation as best as I'm able to. Nutrition's always changing, but and the time I want to be able to be as accurate as possible that I can be, and just being able to help people, get to where they want to be, whether that's with their health, with their fitness, if with their self financially. I'm a big guy with credit cards, so I like to help that out with. So yeah, let's drop some links down in that about for that. But yeah, being able to help people become the best version of themselves, and just being able to help spread truth where truth needs to be spread.
All right. I love that. Steve, what's awesome, everybody? How did you get to be here, and what do you want your brand to be associated with? Like, who are you for the space?
So I'll try to encapsulate nearly 20 years worth of thoughts into like 4 to 5 minutes, which means I'm going to leave a lot of important piece out of what you're going to hear over the next 4 minutes and 40 seconds. But went to college for engineering, so very linear minded. Math, things like that are like my jam. I love tinkering and finding new ways to go do stuff. But in school, Andrew and I can butt heads over this, but in school they don't actually like teach you to think outside the box. They teach you what the answers are, and then you have to just go memorize them and be a good little guinea pig and follow along. And I always say, if I knew that in school I could go build self-driving cars like Tesla, then I might have continued on with my engineering career, but I didn't, and I didn't enjoy it. I left school to become a paid firefighter, and along the way needed a job because I left after 2 years, did not finish, and dad wasn't going to continue to pay the bills along the way. So in my pursuit of being a paid firefighter, I was working out, figured why, two birds, one stone, let me work at a gym so I get a free gym membership and can go ahead and get paid for it. So that's how fitness really started for me was really doing it for me. I was making $6 and change an hour, waking up at 3:15 in the morning and going to work the front desk, and I wanted to start making $18 an hour being a personal trainer. So studied personal training, the intro to NASM or NASM begin, whatever it was like a 2-weekend course that existed at the time. And it was the first step to going to get your full NASM and ISSA, AFA, things like that, which I did. I passed, and I was able to be a level 1 trainer or whatever they called it at the time. And then just had to go use my, at the time, charismatic skills and just talk to people and convince them that they should let me beat the crap out of them. And that's literally what I did, and I was pretty good at it. Grew into being a general manager at this gym, and it's a chain of gyms that everybody's heard of before, but it was really good. At the same point in time, it was really bad because I fell out of fitness, but I didn't realize I loved fitness as much as I did. I didn't realize I loved helping people achieve a goal and being on that journey with them. So ended up leaving and started working within a smaller footprint, 1,500 square foot gym that was part of a franchise, and fell in love with that model because the attention was truly on the clients, not selling gym memberships, not selling other things. Just, hey, you're going to pay me for the time to create a result. Well, learned that I didn't love those business owners. They weren't putting money back into the business the way that I thought they should be, and you'll learn I'm pretty opinionated. So we'll have our times, but decided to go start my own, and I did just that. And over the course of around a little over 8 years, I grew from a single location, overseeing, operating, owning, to then 17, including group training studios as well as massage. And I fell in love with the business side and the growth side of that whole thing. So not that I fell out of love of fitness and nutrition and everything, and I've stayed within that realm because I think that it's a good product and knowledge to share. I think the world needs more of it. Brandon, kind of to what you said, there's so much misinformation, and I sure as shit don't know all the things about any of it. That's why I hang out with you guys. But the reality is that I know it can be better, and I want to see a business succeed being able to put this information out there. So started doing consulting and focusing on business growth and the marketing side of things in a lot of health and wellness franchise kind of space, and loved it until I didn't. And I was tired of dealing with the corporate world and dealing with the BS that came along with that, and I wanted to go back into the entrepreneurial world. So I figured I'm going to stop consulting and go be with an entrepreneur and be an intrapreneur. And it was it's been an amazing 3 years of doing that journey, but I'm done with that journey because these entrepreneurs fucking suck. We have to hit explicit on this episode, but I'm done with the journey because the one thing corporate world taught me was there are certain ways to strategize. There are certain ways to build a plan and debrief. There are certain ways to treat and give feedback and lead your employees. The way the entrepreneurial world is that's not necessarily true throughout. The other side of it is corporate world is boring and it's the same thing and they never change. And it's, hey, 90 days, we said we're going to do this. Like, we're running into a brick wall on day 13. We're going to do this for 90. Like, it clearly isn't working. So there's pros and cons of them. But at this juncture, I want to see people that have a good message win. But they're not winning and not able to grow because of themselves, because they're bad leaders, they're bad communicators. They don't know how to slow down for a moment and think about solving the root problem here. The three of us all have very different skill sets, but we overlap in certain areas, and we're naturally going to be blind to certain things. But at the same point, I think that if one of us is very keenly aware to it, we're going to tell the other ones, hey, asshole, this is the way we got to think about it. And that's where I think a lot of these businesses, they start growing to 5 million, 10 million a year, and they get comfortable. They get overly confident, and they just keep doing what they've always done. The idea of communication isn't there. The idea of building up an employee or a person on your team that's supposedly a teammate doesn't exist because, well, that's just too much darn work. Well, hey, any business that's ever focused on their employees and grown them has grown their business. It's wild to think that if I focus on the people, the business will grow. you need fundamentals. There's principles, there's strategies, there's things that play a role in that, and they can't be flawed inherently across the board. But at the end of the day, I want to be a people focused company, and I want to provide learning opportunities for people that desire to have that. We are not a profits over people company. Now, we understand you must have profits to have a company, but we're going to manage those accordingly to go spread a message and accomplish a mission of helping the world get better information about what they're doing. And that's what Beyond the Pump really is. It's beyond the idea of just doing the bicep curl. Like, I imagine that person who's in there, you know, running the rack, doing their bicep curls, just pumping up that bicep because it looks good. Well, that's fantastic. But after some amount of time, the pump goes away and you have this base level of what's going on. And we want to be greater than that. So that's where Beyond the Pump really was born from. I think it was longer than 5 minutes, but tried to shove everything in there that kind of felt relevant. So I'll kick it over to you, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, what you're highlighting is a concept called transient hypertrophy, which is the pump. Like, everyone wants to chase it because it feels good and because it makes them feel like they've made the appropriate progress. But, you know, the sad reality is that if you chase the pump every day and you don't take care of the things beyond the pump, such as your nutrition, such as your relationship, such as your professional growth, you're going to miss the boat every time. And I think that, you know, people oftentimes mistake activity for achievement. That's something that, you know, I guess kind of segueing into my own journey here. You know, I was an Olympic hopeful, I guess back in 2002 to 2006, didn't do too well academically. So that got kiboshed. And that's where my love of athleticism came in, because I was a kid that, struggle with disordered eating, and I, you know, never goes away. You just learn how to manage it as you get older. But, you know, that's a 18-year and counting kind of thing. And tying in, like, you know, there's a certain level of being a foreign kid coming to America, like trying to belong. I always had this concept that in order to belong, you had to be better than. And so I really was an elitist in a lot of the things I did, and it really did well professionally for me. You know, I served one tour in 7 years in the Marine Corps reconnaissance community. I got my undergraduate degree in health and physical education, and that wasn't quite enough. And so I always kind of wanted to be known as the best, but it was almost a really hollow pursuit for me as I've gone on as a professional, in the way that, you know, the achievements didn't make up, and it didn't give me the thing that I thought it would, which would be a sense of belonging. And so, you know, having gone through a master's degree, having opened up a CrossFit gym, like, those were the things where I worked my soul into the ground. And, you know, I was left at the end of, like, was it worth it? And, you know, we're all united by Company A here, because that's more or less where we all came across each other. You know, Brandon was an intern at Company A. He reached out on LinkedIn, which is hilarious to think about, thinking he was applying at a company called Lifetime. We scooped him up. You know, Steve and I had our comeuppance at Company A as well. And, like, you know, we had our segues there. And now recently I'm transitioning out of Company A as well. And I think the thing that, you know, hopefully there's a lot of open loops in that we can explore at some other time. But for me, it's
mostly... we're going to explore those a lot. I promise you.
Watch my socials today if you want to see what's up. We're going to make the announcement. But, you know, for me, I think that the relationships, and I think that, I guess if I were to back up for a second, the most important thing I think in life is the quality of your relationships will determine the quality of your life. And I think that, Steve, you do such a wonderful job in cultivating those professional relationships and those personal relationships. Brandon can, you know, talk to the wall forever. And, like, we had a great relationship. For those of you that don't know, Brandon helped me write some courses and, like, basically recorded, and we spent a good probably 30 to 40 hours together. And not all of those were productive, because we were obviously having such a great conversation. And I find that people are most enlivened when they can find their tribe and ultimately are able to express themselves, their gifts, and really just come to life in that way. I don't really think that there's such thing as an introvert. I think that it's more along the lines of, you're not actually being your authentic self in that. And so while my master's degree was in health and human performance, they say that research is research. So as I'm going through my doctorate in performance psychology, I'm really, like, tied to this idea that we learn our gifts and the things that we're here for by the quality of the conversations and relationships that we have with people. So that's why the rule of you surround yourself with the 5 people that you ultimately want to be most like. I think that that's probably what I seek to create for the health and education community, because I don't think that with all the information and social media that's out there today, people are having access to the quality of connect or information, much like you guys have alluded to. There's a lot of misinformation. I would like to take that a step further and say that it's not even misinformation, like it's wrong, but rather it's just poorly contextualized. And people don't understand, like when someone was having a conversation, maybe it was the truth for that thing, but when other people overhear it, such as in social media, we're like, this is the one method that's going to make you 10K in 10 days and get you 10 clients. And you're like, maybe not. Maybe that's not quite the way that that's supposed to unfold for everyone. Because if we take brand new coaches or brand new health professionals or brand new personal trainers, we dump 10 clients in their calendar. A lot of times they're not ready to handle 10 clients at the same time. So I think for me, just helping people understand the context of their situation and understanding the obstacle and negotiating that was probably one of my favorite things that I did at a bigger company, a $1 billion fitness company called Lifetime. And I was a team development manager, and it really did come down to understanding the person, looking at what they wanted to do, understanding what they needed to get there, and ultimately bringing that to life and supporting them along the way. So as we kind of wrap up our intro here, the thing that I think is exactly what Steve said, is that it's not necessarily just a people over profits, because businesses do have to have a certain level of performance in order to subsist. Like if you can't hit that level, then your business isn't going to stay around. The idea is, how do you balance those so that way people want to become involved? They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And that's where I think Beyond the Pump is definitely going to bring that community together. And we're super excited to get to have everyone get to play in that game with us. So
2 things to add here quick. Now you made a false statement. Okay. It was factually
relevant for you.
It was factually wrong. Okay. You once told me that the best way to lose weight was to skip lunch, and that's literally that is the best way to lose weight. So I'm going to make sure everybody hears that on episode 1. That is the best way to lose weight. So
we'll add the contextual enrichment around that later, guys. Steve and I have been working together for almost 3 years now.
Yes.
Coach client wise. And so it's we had some very interesting conversations for sure that will definitely come out. But I'm excited. I think this was a phenomenal episode. Anything you guys want to add as we wrap up here?
I'm excited to be here. I must say it.
Fun.
Let's get it done, fellas. All right. Well, episode 1 done. We'll see you guys for the next one, episode 2 and Beyond the Pump.